Hey guys, Scott here. As tradition, in the 7 hours it takes the PTP to install for me, for some reason, I always review the information that they gave, and they did a whole nice anniversary stream. So I wanted to quickly go over a couple things that they talked about. I'll have a separate video about the whole Resident Evil content. I think a lot of it's really cool. A lot of it is, or not a lot of it. Some of it's a little worrisome, but I want to go over the actual stream itself, their plans and things like that, real quick as my PTB is installing. And hopefully, by the time I'm done with all of this, it'll finally be done and I can actually play the new killer with you guys, since I'm not going to be doing regular queues because they're 30 hours long, so I'll have to do Kill Your Friends. That being said, let's go over a couple of things they talked about. So the first thing, I just jotted down a few notes as I was watching. The first thing was the new perk types, and that's basically referring to the Boon Totems now. Now, unfortunately, with a lot of this new stuff, they were vague. They were so vague to the point that I don't even really know what to comment on it, because it's just basically they had an idea of a thing that they want to do, and that's about all the information we got. So until we know more about like the boon perks and things like that, it's really unclear how it's going to work. Will it replace one of the dull totems? Will they add another totem so there's 6 totems in the map? Will it add one for every survivor that has the perk? Like, there are so many questions I have about this system that they don't seem to have the answers to. It seems like they're still very early in the drawing board stage. So not too much to comment on that, unfortunately, if we ever see it. Like, they've talked about things before, like the whole trial warm-up thing and console optimization. Like, they've talked about a lot of stuff, and then it never ends up panning out. So I'll hold my judgment on that until we actually see it and see what it means. There is also a change to Moris again, and also keys. They're making them, I think, baseline mechanics to the game now, which means they will have to neuter them even more if it's something that everyone gets for free. But again, they were very vague about that as well. They really didn't say much. They just said they're doing something to make it a base mechanic of the game. And there could be speculation about what that will be, like it's only active during the endgame collapse, or like, there's a lot of ideas floating around. But again, I feel like these first 2 points, they really were very, very vague about it, which indicates it's just barely in the idea stage. So don't expect this for at least half a year, maybe even more. It seems like it's a very far away thing. Seems like they're sticking with the same schedule. They're doing 4 killers per year, which is good. They're only going to do 2 maps this time instead of, they usually do a new map with a new killer. It seems like they're only going to be adding 2 new maps, which I'm okay with. I think DBD has gotten to like a critical mass point of maps, to the point where like you don't actually need any more. You just want to refine the ones that currently exist, and I hope they continue doing that. So only 2 maps is fine. Before killers is the same pattern they've been following last year as well. They also said they're adding flat terrain modifications, like they're adding relief, which is basically up and down. So they're making it less just a flat plane, which I think is mostly just going to be for visuals. It's probably not going to matter much, although I'm sure Blight is going to like start colliding into pebbles now or something. So I have no doubt Blight will somehow get fucked by this, but I think it'll probably just make the game look cooler, because it won't be so artificial. Basically, it'll look more natural, which is cool. One of the main things I want to talk about is the Autoban system that they talked about. If something receives enough reports, they get banned. That, I hope, is they're not explaining it properly, because if that's the case, that is the worst idea they've ever had in their entire time making this game. That is an awful idea. People report people for anything. If you bring a flashlight, reported. You camped, reported. You teabag, reported. You exist, reported. Like, there has to be some policing there, or everybody that plays this game will be banned after the first day, and the game will just die immediately. So I feel like they're missing something. Like, they didn't discuss some caveats to that. Like, there's still some rules behind it that will, have to have some regulation, because you cannot trust people at all with an automated ban system like this. If you receive mass reports, which you will, then you get banned. Like, that cannot work. That will ruin this game. So I am very, very concerned about that, and I hope there's more to it than what they just basically said. I'm sure there is. I don't think they're that stupid. I think they realize that people get salty and report for fucking everything. Every streamer will be banned immediately. Like, it'll just be the worst thing ever. So I really hope they clarify more on that, because it sounds terrible right now. So they're actually bringing the bot technology from mobile into here, and I think it's actually part of Nemesis, because he has the zombies that are just sort of NPCs that wander around, which is cool. I think it'll make the tutorials better as well. So I'm curious to see that technology being implemented. It'd be cool if they started applying that to other things, like if a survivor disconnects, they will just walk to a generator and repair it. Bare minimum shit there. They don't have to juke or anything like that. Just do something that's not being completely out of the game. it'll make it so a 3v1 is not as hopeless. So I think that could be cool. A lot of cool stuff they can do with the bots. Now, in terms of Nemesis, I don't want to talk about it too much because I'm going to make a whole separate video about that. In terms of Nemesis, the zombies thing, it seems like it's going to be an RNG fest. Like if a zombie just walks in front of a pallet and just blocks the pallet, you just fucking die. So it's going to be fun, but I foresee a lot of people getting pissed off about the RNG of where the zombies just wander. They could just block a hallway, block a window, block a doorway. Like it seems like it's going to be really frustrating a lot of the time. So we'll see how that goes. I'm not sure how that's going to translate to balance in the game, but we'll see. And finally, we can talk about the map since it's not necessarily related to Nemesis itself. The map is, I have not played it yet, but from what I've seen of the actual footage that they showed and from what I've seen from people that who got into the PTB early, it looks like it's going to be horrible. I think it is going to be one of the worst maps in the game. Good old negative Scott. But I mean, it checks every mark that you do not want to check. Indoor map, not good. Huge map, not good. Giant line of sight blockers every 5 feet. Confusing layout if you have not played Resident Evil. If you have, then I know the map pretty well because I play this on a Trouble in Terrorist Town server, right? So I actually know the map pretty well. But for people who don't know the map, it's extremely confusing. It's actually very large. It has a ton of safe pallets, and it's very claustrophobic and indoors other than the main hallway. So the map itself, hey look, a god pallet. The map itself is, I think, going to be terrible. It looks very, very cool. So it's the whole tradition of the art team nailing it, but the gameplay design, just the map itself, is really not a way to make it fun to play. And it seems like they value the aesthetics and the atmosphere of it over the balance of it. And that's true because like Midwich as well, it's also awful to play on, but for the most part, they nailed the aesthetics of it. So yeah, fans of Resident Evil will love this. It's going to be very cool just to play on, but in terms of actual balancing, this map is, I think, is going to be one of the worst maps in the game. I don't even think that's a bold negative opinion to have. It really does fill every check mark for what a bad map is. So I think I'm going to hate this map. I think everyone's going to hate this map for the most part. Once the whole, shiny paint wears off of like, oh, damn, this map looks really cool. It's going to be pretty miserable to play on. But so that I'm not looking forward to. Nemesis itself seems pretty cool, and I will be playing him in a little bit on my stream if you guys want to check that out. And he does seem pretty cool, so I'm excited about that. A lot of the perks seem really interesting too. The one perk where you reveal... Well, I'm getting into Nemesis stuff now. We'll discuss that in a separate video. I just wanted to go over the actual announcement stream that they had and all that stuff, and thanks for watching.